WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Quentin Smith. The Mississippi Highway Patrol is investigating several wrecks near the Blue Springs Toyota plant on Interstate 22. Shortly after 5 o'clock today, a Union County deputy made a traffic stop eastbound on Interstate 22. As the deputy and the car he was stopping pulled onto the shoulder, several vehicles were involved in the collision. Officers believe another wreck may have been caused by drivers trying to steer clear of debris in the road. At least 7 vehicles, including an 18-wheeler, were involved in those wrecks. Several people were taken to Baptist Hospital in New Albany with what are believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. Eastbound traffic was rerouted to Magnolia Way while the wrecks were being cleared up. At this time, weather is not believed to have been a factor, but not long after that, storms began to move all across our viewing area. And for the latest on those, we sent things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson for a first look at our forecast. Keith?
Yeah, Quentin, check this out. Our Alpha Insurance camera in downtown Tupelo picked up on that shelf cloud right there with the storm, some gusty breezes, heavy downpours, vivid lightning, torrential downpours. So if you were driving in that this evening, you had to pull over or really slow down. A lot of that coming to an end. Still a little bit of rain up there near Pickwick Lake and also out here south and west of Winona. But that's it. All of those heavy storms now done. Most of us cooling down into the 70s, and it looks like worst case scenario tonight, 74, 73 degrees. So about there right now. Low 90s in most spots on Friday, partly cloudy, a chance for some storms. The heat index still around 100 degrees. So hope for a storm to cool you down. The latest on Bear, we just got this in, 50-mile-per-hour sustained wind drifting to the west slowly at 3. There's still some dry air impacting the northeastern side of it, but it still looks like this thing's going to strengthen a little bit as we go throughout the course of the night and tomorrow. And then it will come ashore somewhere in Louisiana tomorrow night or Saturday morning. The remnant low is going to come up the Mississippi River. That's going to keep us on the eastern side of it, so still a heavy rain threat here and an isolated tornado threat here as we go throughout your Saturday and Sunday. So one more on that, plus a look ahead at your 7-day forecast, Quentin, in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Keith. State officials are also keeping a close eye on Barry. Courtney Ann Jackson has more on the latest developments in the state's response plan from Mississippi Emergency Management Headquarters.
Mississippi Emergency Management Director Greg Michelle admits there are still a lot of variables with Tropical Storm Barry.
This is kind of a strange storm. You know, this system, started on land, it went into the Gulf, it got out in that warm water. Water in the Gulf of Mexico is it's actually higher than it usually is this time of year. So you swam around out there now for a couple of days, and it's still showing signs of a little unpredictability. But
that doesn't change the fact that they're positioning resources closer to the first impact areas. The already waterlogged lower delta is of the most concern.
Rain that will go there will certainly accumulate more in the backwater, which is currently trapped because of the level of the Mississippi River. Concern is about the water coming back up and causing more damage to infrastructure that's already been previously damaged.
And don't assume that the idea of a tropical system means you're in the clear if you don't live along the coast.
Pretty much follow the Mississippi River until it exits the state. And the bands, particularly on the eastern side, which is where we are going to be in Mississippi, that's the dirty side they call it, and that's where all the rain, the majority of the rain, majority of the wind gusts are going to go.
While the exact details on Barry are still being determined, Michelle suggests you don't wait around to plan ahead.
Make sure your evacuation routes are routes that are not going to be flooded, and always have that 3 to 5 days emergency supply for your food, your water, your prescriptions, and anything else you're going to need to sustain your family during a period of time like this.
Now, at this time, there aren't any current evacuation orders since the backwater area has already been evacuated, and there are water rescue crews standing by in case they're needed. A couple in Lowndes County is accused of child neglect. The man is still behind bars, and the mother has been released on bond, but the children are no longer in the home. Our Riley Livingston takes a look at how law enforcement officers handle these types of cases.
Most parents can't imagine neglecting their child's basic needs. But youth court judge Lydia Quarles says it happens more often than you might think.
I cannot tell you the situations that these child protective services people see, because they take pictures and they bring them back to court. And you would not, it is very hard for me to believe.
We get some, not a lot. Thank goodness. You know, it breaks your heart to see a child abused or mistreated or anything like that. You know, I'm a softy when it comes to kids, and we go to every call, we check every welfare concern that we get a call for to make sure that everything's okay.
And those calls make a difference. Child Protective Services and law enforcement often rely on the community to spot child neglect cases.
They know more what's going on in their neighborhoods out somewhere than maybe we would know, and you've got a lot of young mothers and parents that work, and sometimes, unfortunately, they leave kids at home by themselves unattended, which is not safe, and you know, we need to know that.
From not going to school to not having food or even clothes at home, there are many levels of neglect.
If you're not seeing that they're in school, that can be educational neglect. So that's probably the least neglectful thing, is you don't get your child to school. If you don't have suitable clothes, if you don't have beds for your children, if you don't have food in the house, if it's a filthy environment.
When CPS gets called, they go to investigate and develop a plan of action.
The first thing they do is to determine what is the threat to the child and fix that. CPS can work with families informally, and if that doesn't work, then they can bring them to court.
That was Riley Livingston reporting there. Quarles says when you make a call to the CPS hotline, you can remain anonymous. She encourages anyone with suspicious of neglect or abuse to call 1-800-222-8000.
Some good tropical downpours out there this evening with those strong storms with heavy rain. You can see one of those out by Eupora earlier. You can see some of that water collecting there in Oxby County, and also going up in the rain gauge right there, almost 2 inches in short order in Lamar County. Your full forecast is next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Summer soakers continue today. A live view from earlier today. This is our time-lapse camera there, not a live view, but a time-lapse from Durham's Pharmacy in Vernon. You can see the wet weather, and then that storm complex moved into Columbus, and wow, it was a soaker out there too. A quick 2 inches plus in the downtown area, but we were rewarded. Look at that color here. Dirk sends us that. You can see the sunset across our region this evening with those clouds from the storms in place. But now the rain's on the way out, moving west of 55. Most of our area not seeing any rain right now, and things just going away like magic, just like clockwork here across our area. So pretty active a couple of hours ago, and you can see the downpours. Some of you getting nothing. Some spots getting over 2 inches, like downtown Columbus right here in the downtown core, giving rise to some of that urban street flooding. Lows tonight down into the 70s, about where we are right now in the wake of those thunderstorms. Tomorrow, 90 degrees, scattered storms, not as hot. Still hot, but not as hot. The heat index could still be up to about 100, but a 50% chance for some of these scattered storms again, probably more so during the daytime heating, much like today, and some of those will carry over into the evening too. Can't rule out some on an isolated basis earlier in the day or from the late morning onward, but probably more so during the heating of the day into the evening, and then those will go away. So that should be our forecast for our Friday. Now, the weekend is going to be impacted by Barry right there, the center, southeast of New Orleans, drifting west at 3, sustained wind at 50. But in general, there's a little bit of dry air here on the northeastern side of this, and that's impacting some organizations. So it hasn't really intensified as fast as some of the computer models were suggesting a day or two ago, but it's still expected to intensify, maybe close to a Cat 1 hurricane by Saturday morning as it approaches the Louisiana coast. And then the remnant low at this point is expected to go up the Mississippi River Valley. It could go west, it could go farther east. We'll see, but this is the cone of uncertainty at this point. That puts us on the eastern side of it. The computer forecast models, again, take it towards Louisiana and then back up to the north. We'll just see how this plays out here, but the potential for 2 to 6 inches of rain or more is possible here. Flooding could be a concern again. Isolated tornadoes can't be ruled out either. That's always a concern east of the center of a landfalling tropical system. And we may see some power outages around here too, assuming it takes that track. And at this point, we're expecting 2 to 6 inches or more locally here, more or less depending on where it goes. The bullseye down here in Louisiana, we're pinning 10 inches or more. Some spots could actually get 20 to 25 inches of rain down there in parts of Louisiana. So that's where the bullseye of the rain's going to be. Here's the big picture. Right now, the center south of New Orleans, we'll have our pop-up storms around here tomorrow, waves of activity trying to come on in. But the actual center of this will stay offshore until tomorrow night. And as we get into Saturday, these little beings here will start to get a little bit more interesting. Those would be the ones we'll have to start to be concerned about the isolated tornado threat. And some of those could carry over into Saturday night, Sunday, and Sunday night. And that little core right there on the eastern side of the center of circulation, that is where that heavy flooding rain is going to be. And that is probably going to migrate all the way up with the remnant low during the course of the weekend. So wherever that thing goes is where we expect the heaviest rain to be in our area. So at this point, we're just hedging the bet. We know there's going to be some rain around, perhaps some heavy rain Saturday, Sunday, and the Monday. With that will come some cooler temperatures. We'll get the system out of here by the middle of next week, Quentin. We're back into the low 90s.
Lost pressure from a line break causes a boil water notice in West Point. The notice is for about 100 people in the White Station area east of Crosby Corner who are served by the city of West Point. Health officials suggest residents under the notice boil their water for at least 1 minute before drinking it. A mosquito-borne sickness makes its Mississippi debut. We find out more about that and staying safe on the water when we come back. Welcome back. It's a favorite summertime activity, but it can also be dangerous. If you're planning on hitting the water in a boat or other personal watercraft, there are a few things you need to know. We find out more in tonight's Health Talk with the Baptist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lee Richardson, an emergency room physician at Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle. Tonight we will be discussing how to stay safe using a boat or other personal watercraft. More people die in boating accidents every year than in airplane crashes or train wrecks, but a little common sense can make boating both safe and enjoyable. Alcohol and water do not mix. 1/3 of boating deaths are alcohol related. Alcohol distorts our judgment no matter where we are, but that distortion is even greater on the water. Because there are no road signs or lane markers on the water and the weather can be unpredictable, it's important to think quickly and react well under pressure. Weather. Before boating, make sure that the weather conditions are safe. Personal flotation devices. It's always a good idea for everyone on the water to wear a Coast Guard approved life jacket regardless of the size or the speed of the boat and whether you're a good swimmer or not. Stay in touch. Before going out on a boat, let somebody on land know where you're going and about how long you will be out. So if you do get in trouble, somebody will have an idea of where to look for you. Jet skis. If you're using jet skis or personal watercraft, follow the same rules as you do for boating. Also check the laws in your state. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
The first case of West Nile virus in the state is reported for the year. Today, the Mississippi Department of Health confirmed the first case had been found in Smith County. Now, while symptoms of the infection are often mild, causing headaches and nausea, in rare cases it can cause encephalitis or meningitis. Back in 2018, there were 50 cases of West Nile virus reported in Mississippi, but there were no deaths. Most cases of the infection are reported from July to September. 60 schools in 60 days checks in next with the Nettleton Tigers. More on how the Tigers are ramping up for the season next in sports.
CI Sports with Courtney Robb.
The next stop on our 60 Schools in 60 Days tour checks in with the Nettleton Tigers. As the 18th stop, the Tigers are coming off of a tough season. Head coach Ken Topps and his team is eager to get back to it on the gridiron.
WCBI's 60 Schools in 60 Days is brought to you by Sparklight.
The Nettleton Tigers want to start a new trend. Coming off back-to-back 4-6 seasons, the Tigers' primary focus is to get over the hump.
Man, it's all about getting over that hump, man. You know, you go into the season thinking one game at a time. But you know, you can't help but look down that schedule. But you just got to figure out a way to get past the slow starts that we're having, and that's been our problem most games. Which come out starting slow and then end up fighting back. We just got to figure out how to come out in that first quarter and win ball games.
Coach Sauce has brought that up a lot. Just being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and he's really pushed us, and we hope this summer we've done enough to get over the hump.
Youth will be key for the Tigers. Nettleton has to replace 13 seniors from last year's team, giving the young guys an opportunity to step into impact roles.
Even though we lost a lot, we still have a lot from last year and also have a lot of young guys coming up from junior high. So I'm hopefully we'll take the summer and build on it and have a great year.
Getting all these boys just come together, we're gonna be straight because we're coming together as a team, as one. We got a lot of people stepping up, working hard this summer, and I think we're gonna be all right.
A lot of those guys contributed a whole lot, so you're trying to replace them with some younger guys, and I think those younger guys are stepping up to the plate right now.
It always helps a young team whenever the starting quarterback returns. Senior leader Graham Gardner will play a major factor in the Tigers' success.
He's a senior. He's only been playing for 2 years, though. Last year was his first full year of football out there. So, he made some, I guess you could say, rookie mistakes. But, man, just to see how much he's grown, how more comfortable he's been in the offense this offseason, I know things are going to be great going forward.
Nettleton starts the season August 23rd on the road against Bruce. Reporting in Nettleton on the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
Well, we are still 42 days away from the beginning of the high school football season, which means we have 42 more tour stops to go. Our stops through 3A continue on throughout the weekend. The Amory Panthers coming up on Friday to kick it off. On Saturday, we check in with the Water Valley Blue Devils, followed on Sunday with the Winona Tigers, and Monday kicks off Alabama Week with Aliceville. And, of course, if you've missed any of those stops along the way, you can always go watch them on our website at WCBI.com. It only took one standout performance in the NBA Summer League for Terrence Davis to find himself a new professional home. The defending NBA champs made it officially official that the former Ole Miss Rebel has earned a spot on the Toronto Raptors roster. Davis originally signed with the Denver Nuggets as an undrafted free agent. In his debut, he led the Nuggets with 22 points, went 5 for 7 from downtown along with 5 boards and 3 assists to help get Denver the victory over Orlando. The South Haven native averaged 15.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 3.5 assists in his 33 games played as an Ole Miss Rebel. And speaking of those Ole Miss Rebels, opening matchups were announced for the 2019 NIT tip-off. Ole Miss is set to face off against Penn State in an SEC Big Ten matchup that will open up the tournament at the Barclays Center in New York. The two will play Thanksgiving week, Wednesday, November 27th at 4 p.m. You can watch that on ESPN2. Ole Miss comes off a remarkable season, finishing with a 20-13 overall record, earning an NCAA tournament berth for the first time since 2015. Penn State, on the other hand, did not compete in the NCAA tournament last season. Tierra McCowan in the grind of the WNBA season with the Indiana Fever. Wednesday evening, McCowan scored 11 points, adding 12 boards and going 3 for 5 at the line. Her contributions helped the Fever work its way back, but ultimately, Indiana loses yet another close one this season. The final was 74-71. Next up, McCowan and the Fever will play the LA Sparks coming up on Friday. That's it for sports. We'll have more for you coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Children and teenagers from all across Northeast Mississippi are learning about art, music, and acting at an annual theater camp at Tupelo's Lyric Theater. The campers are learning lines and songs for an original children's play called Can't Stop the Big Top. The circus-themed show is meant to teach campers about theater and also has some valuable real-life lessons.
The circus people learned that the ringmaster is sick, and so they're wondering, how are we going to do the show without the ringmaster? Well, somebody's got to be the leader, and they start having disagreements, but they learned that we can disagree with each other, and we can still be friends, and we can still respect each other and work together.
I like that I have a singing part, and I really like doing the dancing and stuff.
I know it teaches a lesson, and I think the lesson is going to be a good thing to learn in life.
Can't Stop the Big Talk takes the stage Friday for 2 shows, the first one at 11:30 and the second one at 4:30 at the Lyric Theater.
Warmer tomorrow, scattered storms, not as hot as our recent temperatures, around 90, but still plenty of heat and humidity out there. All right, there's Barry. It's down in the Gulf of Mexico. Alex will have the latest on this on Sunrise starting at 4:30. So it's still going to get its act together here, but the remnants of that will come our way this weekend, Quentin, hence the rain and storms we have in the forecast.
So don't sign up for any activities outdoors this weekend?
Best bet to see indoors.
Unless I bring an umbrella. Have a good night, everyone.